Shalom, first foremost, all praise, glory and the highest honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak, Dash. Double honor to elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Brother Rocky coming back with a lesson, and this is concerning the c-19 vaccines, the c-19 boxing jab, or the c-19 shot. It's from the Economic Times. Vaccines even more harmful than severe c-19. Witnesses explosive cancer risk, claim shock Senate. There's other videos as well. Wow. I fucking pressed that. But yeah, saw them develop late stage cancer after c-19 booster. All of them took boosters. COVID, well, I said it, 19 mRNA vaccines caused 74% of deaths. It's coming out, man. mRNA c-19 shots linked to blood clots. This from 7 months ago. The other one from 1 month ago. This also 1 month ago. So let's check this out for a bit. From the eldest apostles of Jemison down, the word has been to not take those vaccines. You know, it's not a surprise, but then you had ISUPK and General Yahan saying, yeah, you should take it. Also, Bishop Nate of IUIC was saying, yeah, you know, when we travel to Africa, you know, we take all the vaccines. You know, it's just something that happens. So he pretty much, in a roundabout way, he said you can take it. And then at a Passover, I believe it was the Passover of either 2021 or 2022. He said that there was 22 people dead because of c-19 in their school. So that's that's wild, okay? Because that's most likely from the c-19 shots, okay? Because the GMS line was not to take the shot, and there was no reports of anyone losing their life. So you definitely shouldn't have taken the shot. The scriptures speak, Sirach 12 and 10, to never trust your enemy.
I took 2 doses of Pfizer's mRNA vaccine.
And copyright disclaimer, only for educational commentary purposes.
Aware at the time that it was, in fact, a prophylactic gene therapy product and unlike any traditional vaccine. I'm a grieving vaccine injured doctor. I've been diagnosed with a persistent autoimmune condition related to loss of bifidobacteria in my guts. An advanced blood test suggested I'm at slightly increased risk of cancer in the short term. In my view, millions of Americans and millions more across the world may be in clear and present danger of suffering premature cardiovascular disease and cancer.
Our next witness is Dr. Asim Malhotra. Dr. Malhotra is a multi-award-winning, internationally renowned British cardiologist. He served in an advisory role for health policy across governments, including as an ambassador.
I remember you had all of these athletes out of nowhere collapsing, football players, stuff like that. I remember Sergio Kun Aguero, he just fucking collapsed in his Barcelona match, had to retire. There was many others, and that was just one that came to mind.
To the Academy of Medical Royal Colleges and trustee of the King's Fund, a health policy think tank. He was ranked the #1 doctor in the world influencing obesity thinking. He was named one of the UK's most influential scientists. Dr. Malhotra.
Thank you, Senator Johnson. In January,
one doctor in the world influencing obesity thinking, was named one of the UK's most influential scientists. Dr. Malhotra.
Thank you, Senator Johnson. In January 2021, indoctrinated with the unlikelihood of any major harm, I took 2 doses of Pfizer's mRNA vaccine, unaware at the time that it was, in fact, a prophylactic gene therapy product and unlike any traditional vaccine. Although I was at very low risk of serious illness from COVID-19 due to my age and perfect metabolic health, I was inoculated to protect my patients. As one of the UK's most trusted doctors, I was requested to appear on Good Morning Britain to help tackle vaccine hesitancy amongst high-risk ethnic minority groups. 5 months later, a personal tragedy.
Yeah, because they want Jake to get it. Okay? The tribes.
Triggered a complete U-turn in my perception of the vaccine. We were dealing with a medical product that was actually unsafe and defective. My fit and healthy 73-year-old father, honorary vice president of the British Medical Association, who also happened to be my best friend and last surviving member of my immediate family, died after suffering an unexpected cardiac arrest. Post-mortem findings revealed severe coronary artery disease, and subsequent published mechanistic evidence suggested that 2 doses of the mRNA COVID vaccine likely caused a massive acceleration in atherosclerosis.
Yeah, he died because of the shots. Okay, and I have personal testimony. An older woman told me that her life was ruined because of the c-19 shot. She said that afterwards her legs became like spoiled spaghetti. She just been falling around in her house. You know, real shit, man. So we made hella videos, you know, when they was pushing it, not so that you shouldn't be taking it. Okay, so the prophets being giving them warnings. So it's up to you to, if the Most High gives you the spirit to listen or not. Okay, now we're saying prepare for the time of Jacob's trouble because this world system is about to end. Ja, however, that's sooner than later.
Leading to his sudden death. In 2022, I published a 2-part peer-reviewed paper in the Journal of Insulin Resistance calling for a moratorium on these unsafe and defective products. The most damning evidence was a reanalysis of Pfizer and Moderna's original trials. It determined a frequency of serious harm from the product that was 2 to 4 times more likely than being hospitalized with severe COVID. In my view, damning evidence
Let's listen to this again.
was a reanalysis of Pfizer and Moderna's original trials. It determined a frequency of serious harm from the product that was 2 to 4 times more likely than being hospitalized with severe COVID.
So 2 to 4 times more likely the vaccine was more harmful than the c-19 pandemic. And you see, man, now it's all coming out. You have fucking Fauci pleading the fifth. He don't want to say shit. All these things coming out, man. And then I remember back then, 2021, people was, walking around with masks. Yeah, you gotta take the, c-19 jab. You gotta take it. What are you doing? You're not protecting others. And there was a good comment. That's crazy. These vaccines are still being given to people. We've been saying this for 5 years now. This the comment. No one regrets not taking it. That's facts. I ain't take none of that shit, and I don't regret it. I'm so happy I didn't take that shit. Okay, someone's saying there's testimonies, bro. I was taking care of an older lady who already had the c-19 vaccine. Her health was fine. She was just older and needed help getting around. That's why I was there. Later down the line, on a Friday, she had a booster shot. By Wednesday of the next week, she was unalive. No one will ever convince me that the booster and her death didn't go hand in hand. Of course, they went fucking hand in hand. Yeah, someone said it. A cured patient is a lost customer, you see.
In my view, if the system had been more transparent, this prophylactic gene therapy would likely not have been injected into a single human being in the first place. Although there is now a multitude of high-quality research supporting those analyses, there's been predictable little to any mainstream media coverage, a symptom of the downstream effects of how big corporations exert their power by controlling the dominant narrative. I have personal experience with these downstream effects. Towards the end of last year, at the Reform Party political conference, I quoted Britain's most eminent oncologist, Professor Angus Dalgleish. He believes that the COVID mRNA vaccine likely played a significant role in cancers of members of the royal family. Predictably, I was smeared and misrepresented in the media. Even the British Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, misled Parliament, suggesting that I'd claimed that all vaccines cause cancer. In quotes, "These dangerous conspiracies cost lives," he said. I also experienced public smears and attacks from influential sections of the medical profession. I'm a grieving vaccine-injured doctor. I've been diagnosed with a persistent autoimmune condition related to loss of bifidobacteria in my gut, and advanced blood tests suggested I'm at slightly increased risk of cancer in the short term. Looking at the totality of up-to-date evidence and what you've heard from eminent witnesses today, in my view, millions of Americans and millions more across the world may be in clear and present danger of suffering premature cardiovascular disease and cancer. Without allowing all scientists to debate this openly, without fear of censure, we will not be able to identify who is most at risk and how these risks can be mitigated. When it comes to making money, multinational corporations have been diagnosed by preeminent forensic psychologist Dr. Robert Hare and law professor Joel Bakan as legal entities that fulfill the criteria for psychopathy. Characteristics include callous unconcern for the safety of others, incapacity to experience guilt, repeated lying, and conning others for profit. The evidence presented here today exposes the corporate tyranny underlying public health practice. This profitability over people rooted in the neoliberal economic model has led to trust being an all-time low in the medical profession. A full public apology from government bodies and medical leadership to the vaccine injured and bereaved is an essential first step in restoring that trust. Tyranny emerges when people are afraid to say what they think. When you have something to say, silence is a lie. When everyone lies all the time, the tyranny is complete. To save the health of the American people and to save democracy, it is our responsibility to expose, resist, and dismantle the era of corporate tyranny we currently find ourselves in. Thank you.
Dr. Malhotra.
So you set it up once, and that's it.
That's it.
Everything is handled after that.
Everything.
The tyranny is complete. To save the health of the American people and to save democracy, it is our responsibility to expose, resist, and dismantle the era of corporate tyranny we currently find ourselves in. Thank you.
Dr. Malhotra, is there ever definitive proof? I mean, definitive. I mean, absolutely, no doubt. I suppose if you shoot somebody in the brain, that's pretty, there's definitive proof how that person died. But medically, when you die from you have all kinds of, what'd you actually die from? It's kind of hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when you make a diagnosis in medicine, you go on the strength of the evidence. It's very difficult to get complete and total proof. I mean, look at what happened with big tobacco, smoking, and lung cancer. The first evidence that emerged that there was a link between smoking and lung cancer until there was actually regulation curbing tobacco consumption took 50 years because the tobacco industry launched a campaign to deny the smoking caused lung cancer. They put out research to counter it.
Did the tobacco industry, did they buy a lot of ads on TV?
Maybe they did, yeah.
Did they possibly fund medical associations?
So that,
again, history maybe doesn't repeat itself, but it sure rhymes.
But I think on that topic as well, Senator Johnson, I think there's a few real truths that people need to understand to bust some myths here. First of all, medicine is not an exact science. We keep hearing this, Anthony Fauci uses this term, trust the science, trust the science. And when I heard that, I thought, that's the most unscientific statement I've ever heard in my life. Because medicine is an applied science. It's a social science. It's constantly evolving. The father of the evidence-based medicine movement, David Sackett, said 50% of what you learn in medical school will turn out to be either outdated or dead wrong within 5 years of your graduation. The trouble is nobody can tell you which half. So you have to learn on your own. So that's one thing you have to understand. But what that means is it's open to manipulation. And if you look at the current status of the medical industrial complex, we have this misinformation mess. To quote John Ioannidis, professor of medicine at Stanford, the most cited medical researcher in the world, 2017, he wrote this paper, How to Survive the Medical Misinformation Mess. And he points out that 20 to 50% of all healthcare activity in the United States brings no benefit to the patient, is wasteful or harmful. And what is the main root cause of that problem? Because most doctors are unaware of the poor quality research that drives their clinical decision making. The pharmaceutical companies, they direct the agenda. They design the trials, they analyze their own research, they then give summary results of their research to the regulators such as the FDA and in the UK the MHRA. But the problem we've got now is that there's no open transparency and independence, because 50 to 65% of the funding of the FDA comes from big pharma. In the UK, 86% of the funding comes from big pharma. So what you've created is really a misinformation mess with biases all the way through down to the, what happens in the consultation room. And ultimately what happens is you have an exaggerated safety and benefit invariably of almost every single drug that has come on the market. And that's the real problem, the root cause of this issue that we're trying to deal with.
Wow, that's great information. That is great information. Of course, we know this already, but he laid it out very well. The medical industry cannot trust that shit, bro. Shouldn't be having a fucking drug cabinet where you have all kinds of drugs that you take, man. Now, where was I supposed to go? Here, Ezekiel. Ecclesiasticus 38:1. Honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which ye may have of him, for the Lord Yahweh has created him. Now, this is not talking about them Edomite doctors and them pharmaceutical industry people. Them are not genuine. For the Most High cometh, for of the Most High Yahweh cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king. This is talking about those that have knowledge of the herbs, the natural remedies. Okay, that's actually beneficial for you. The skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration. The Lord Yahweh has created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. So these modern day medicines, even though they claim, or they might have some elements of some herbs, or that they are made of the earth, there is included some fucking weird ass chemicals and ingredients which is not good for you, which you shouldn't be eating. So you gotta go into things like ginger, turmeric, moringa, moringa leaves, okay, honey. These are natural things that are good for you, for your health. The cayenne pepper, So if you sick, you gotta maintain. You gotta heal. Of course, prayer is number one, but then also you have to mix it with good diet or good good diet, good nutrition. And also, when you're healthy, it's still important to eat well so that you don't get sick. Okay, so Lord willing, this was edifying. On to the next one. Shalom.